And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
The Milo gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from?
Here
comes Zwack.
A push from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it at Auto Club.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Monday night, live from the virtual Pocono Raceway. It's SCT Truck Series, live on VSPEED. Race number 9 out of 15 for 55 laps, 137.5 miles. It's SCT Truck Series. The Bald Head Island Vacations 55 here tonight. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper. Mr. Bojangles on Twitch. Multi-streaming live on YouTube and Twitch simultaneously. And as we get a look at the points bracket here, it's Ross Phillips leading by 42 over Nick Gardner and Dakota Floyd. Second and third tied. Another tie in the points a little bit lower down in the tiers as you have the 17th and 18th position. Kobe Collins and Frank Zingen tied to stay inside that top 20. The top 10 with Cole Jarrett hanging on by 1 point. And as we work our way through the schedule this season, Pocono Raceway, then it's Michigan, back to the normal. A lot of road courses and dirt tracks, a lot of variety in this schedule. And some of the drivers that have had a rough start to this season have a chance to recover in the next 6 races. To talk a little bit about Pocono Raceway, Long Pond, Pennsylvania. It's a 2.5-mile oval. The Tricky Triangle, 3 corners, and it opened in 1971. So a little bit about this place. It's modeled after several different locations in real-world racing. And when they came up with the corners, you could base it off tracks like New Hampshire, Phoenix, Atlanta. The banking, very different in all 3 parts of this racetrack. So setting up and being good at 2 out of the 3 corners is realistic. But really, nobody's good at all 3, and that's what it's going to take, is just minimizing the damage that one of these corners will bring you. Truck's very loose. We saw out there in practice as they were going around, some drivers having problems staying on the racetrack for longer than 3 or 4 laps. The first couple out, very, very loose. And fuel going to be a factor in this one. 2.5 miles for 55 laps. When do you pit? Do you split the run in half? Do you run the full fuel run? It's really going to be up to the driver. So outside of that, getting ready to grid. And we're going to give that pole award to the number 24 of Dakota Floyd, putting down a 54.205 here tonight at Pocono. Morgan Cook close behind, about 0.04 of a second off on that front row. Let's take you down trackside for your grid. So again, that Bald Head Island Vacations Pole Award to the 24 of Dakota Floyd. Let's take you through the rest of your grid. That's going to belong to Todd Cleveland with Sean Langton in 4th. 5th spot, Richard Holland. And Ross Phillips is going to be 6th. Nicholas Pressey and Kyle Stewart will be row number 4. And rounding out that top 5, or top 10 rather, in row number 5, Justin Ritchie and John Sanu. Nick Gardner in the 11th position with Justin Mullins in 12th. 13th spot belongs to Trent Collins with Dylan Disbro in 14th. 15th position, Brian Hennings, Kobe Collins in 16th. 17th, Cole Jarrett. Dad Miller is going to be 18th. 19th, Randy Swale with Paul McDonald. Going to round out that top 20. And with 26 cars out here on the track, Rick Fagone's going to start way back in the field in 21st with Chris Max in the 121 in 22nd. Briggs Engine 23rd here tonight. Benjamin Richards 24th. 25th will be Teresa Spiker. And then the league admin, Garrett Helmlinger, going to be up there in the tower tonight as track steward. So, while we have it, let's get a quick word with your pole sitter. See if we can talk to the number 24. Trying to make all my cameras work properly. But in the meantime, let's get Dakota Floyd dialed up on the radio. Dakota Floyd sitting on the pole here tonight. You're in the VSPEED booth. You got a copy?
I hear you loud and clear, Coop.
Dakota, you put down 0.04 of a second over Morgan Cook here tonight, and you're going to be leading them into turn 1. Tricky triangle. It's been tough. I've seen you guys out in practice. It looked like this thing was a handful for at least a couple laps.
Yeah, it's definitely super loose on cold tires, but once those couple laps go by and we got some heat in the tires, it's pretty gripped up, so I'm feeling pretty good. Home field advantage, so I'm hoping for a good finish, if not a win tonight.
Now, what's it going to take? Because we talked about patience and this track being different on all 3 sides of it. So I think the approach for me personally would be driving it to get good at 2 corners and then mitigate the damage for one of them.
Oh, absolutely. I feel pretty good in all 3, but once things start getting side by side, it's hard to gauge. So,
well, good luck out there, and we'll put you back down 16-1 Motorsports. Good luck tonight there, Dakota.
All right, thanks, Coop.
That was Dakota Floyd, your pole sitter here tonight. And let's transition over to the racetrack. So it really is going to come down to who can get around this place the best, and that's really what racing's all about. This track, a testament to driving ability, the patience it takes to set up your passes, the tunnel turn, the short chute, the high banking of turn 1. These trucks will be going about 190 miles per hour before they send it down into turn 1. slipstream draft down the front straightaway as these laps progress. Continue to pick up speed closer to 195 miles per hour. So drivers will have to be careful, plan their entry, and back up these corners the further back they go as the field tightens up here. Going into turn 3. Pace car going to make the left-hand turn down pit road for the first time today. And the green flag is out. We're live. Bald Head Island Vacations 55. And coming around to lead lap number 1, it's going to be Dakota Floyd on the ticker there to lead the first one. 100th of a second over Morgan Cook as they go into 1. A little bit of side-by-side battling behind them. You've got the 51 of Cook side-by-side with Richard Holland. Unfortunately, Todd Cleveland shoved out a line. That outside's really where you want to be to set up this next turn. On board here with the 44 of Cleveland. As he gets pinched to the inside, he's going to lose ground here. You're going to see that outside line take off from him. It's going to be tough to judge. He's hanging side by side with Sean Langton just inside the top 5. The 44 truck holding on, but the tire's going to wear out quicker on that bottom curve. Now, Ross Phillips starting to make some moves, goes to the outside of the 44. A little pinch down there on the inside. He can't quite get clear. Now, going to try to run back down into the tunnel turn. Ty Cleveland still losing ground. He falls back to the 6th position. Some drivers that were already on the move here to start this thing off. Richard Holland. He's worked his way up to 2nd position. Also on the move. But Dakota Floyd has pulled out half a second over 2nd place Richard Holland. So if this is your first time watching SET rather, Truck Series, Southeast Tutoring VSRL Truck Series has been live on YouTube for 2 solid seasons now. If you haven't checked out VSPEED, go there now and hit the subscribe button so you never miss a single race. We broadcast at 9:05 p.m. Monday nights. Just got cleared by Kobe Collins, side by side in front of them. We have John Sanu diving to the inside of Kyle Stewart into turn 1. This battle just for 10th and 9th position. Sanu not able to make the pass. It looks like Langton might have got a little bit loose there on the exit of 1. Now has Phillips on the outside for 4th. probably going to lose that spot. Keep the wheel nice and steady here. Pocono's so easy to overdrive. You see that lead start to shrink a little bit as the laps continue on. Down the front stretch, some moves being made. You can get into the slipstream and get a good run into one. You see Nick Gardner there in the 8th spot, trying to get by the 55 of Richie. Holding up on that outside really high at 1 and a good run down into the backstretch. This is on the back of Nick Gardner, looking back at 41 of Kyle Stewart in the 8th spot. Starting at 11. He's worked himself up a couple positions, but still a lot of racing left to be done. Coming up on lap number 7, and Dakota Floyd has led all 6 of them. So if we are a little buffery, I apologize. The Twitch probably not liking the multi-stream, so for anybody out there that is a part of the broadcast, much easier to just go check it out on YouTube. But we're trying to get the name out there, a little bit more exposure. Why not? Put it on Twitch. So single file from first all the way back here to the 10th position. You got to go a little bit further back. Paul McDonald running behind Kobe Collins. As he dives to the inside in turn 2. Collins way up the racetrack here. And that tunnel turn not paying off McDonald that time around, but he is going to have the inside advantage as they go into 3. Crossover here, possibly by the 7. That's Dylan Disbro. Down the front stretch, side by side with the 15 of Columns. You can see the spread on the top 10 starting to pull away. A little bit further each lap. The divider between 12th place Rick Collins here and Paul McDonald is 1.6 seconds. So the fourth truck able to hold on just outside of that top 10. Battle for the lead is heating up here. You see Floyd dive down to the bottom on the front stretch, trying to break that slipstream from Richard Holland, but Holland all over the back bumper, and Morgan Cook also in the picture. 0.2 of a second. From Richie all the way to Floyd, it's less than a second all the way up there, 0.7 now. These drivers definitely in each other's slipstream, not able to run away with very much of a lead, and you saw Floyd, he did pull out a little bit there at the start of this thing, but those tires going to get hot. Maybe used it up a little early. We're going to have to wait and see. Holland, very strategic with his passes. Bide his time, wait for the 24 to make a mistake. We'll have to wait and see how long. But here's the other factor he has to think about. He has 6 other trucks behind him that are very hungry. If he doesn't make the pass, takes too long getting around Floyd, he could lose all 6 of those spots. So he has to be careful and plan this accordingly as they go into 1. Riding on board here with the 51 of Morgan Cook. Third place drive here, started in 2nd, lost 1 position, but that position right in front of him hasn't lost ground to him. So bring that points battle back up on your screen, and this has kind of been the norm here since about week 3. Ross Phillips leading over Dakota Floyd. Floyd had the lead at one point this season, but Phillips taking it over after a tough break for Floyd at a couple of the road courses. And so Phillips has been able to dominate several of these racetracks that most of these guys in the top 10 didn't have good nights. Bristol Dirt, very good to Dylan Disbro. Checking in with Disbro, back in the 13th position. A little bit of a struggle here tonight for the 7 truck. He's got the 33 of Paul McDonald all over the back bumper. Touch on the brakes there, almost some contact as they go into 3. Very close racing for the 13th position rather. 12 laps in. 26 miles under the belt. The top 10 has checked out. And Gardner trying to hang with it in the 11th position, trying to keep clean air on the front end of that Mountain Dew Chevrolet. Looking inside of the 74 headings now into the tunnel turn. This is for the top 10. Not able to get it done. We've had a few trucks have brushes with the wall on the exit of turn 2 because of those passes. No changes for the lead as of yet. Dive looking to the inside here for Richard Holland. Was just about to talk about the weather, and then we got a change for the lead on lap 13. Holland trying to clear into turn 1. Not going to be able to do it. They're going to go side by side down the back straightaway into turn 2. Floyd going to hang on to it, and this is what I was talking about with Holland. He's going to have to make quick work of the 24 as you see the 51 move to the outside, trying to take advantage of this situation. Not exactly sure who he wants to go with just yet. Pinch down there from Floyd. He's going to lead this time by. The lap led for the 24 truck. Now starting to side by side for the top 5. See all those orange speed trucks. You've got the 51, the 5, the 8, 16-1 Motorsports, Outcast Motorsports. You've got Hal Jr. Motorsports at number 18 as he loses about 3 spots here. And he's getting ganged up on by these orange speed drivers. Of 3 spots as he tries to pass for the lead. Richard Holland settles back down into the 4th position. Dakota Floyd is going to hang on for another lap and lead 14 of them. As we start lap 15 out of 55, a move to the outside up high here. Coming out of turn 1. Cook gets a little bit tight, but keeps the speed and has one heck of a run coming down the backstretch. Now Cook maybe making the same mistake that Holland made as they go into turn 2. Can he make quick work of the 24? He does, and takes over the lead on lap 15, but overshoots it hard into the outside wall. And now a scramble down the backstretch. Floyd back to the lead. Phillips drops to the bottom. 3 wide almost as they go into turn 3. And that tight little mistake there from the 51. He had the pass. He sent it a little bit too deep into turn 2. And he hits the wall on the exit. Now the battle back for the lead. The 24 Phillips getting some drafting help by the 18, who's recovered his positions. Now on the outside of length and into 1. The top 5 all over each other. taking over on lap 16. And a block there from the 5. Shuts the door as they go into turn 2. That's a pretty bold move there by the 5 to do that this early in the race, but sometimes you just got to break that momentum up. You know the guy's going to make that crossover after you completed the pass. He's going to have that run. Now look at him coming off of turn 3. A big gap, 0.3 of a second over Richard Holland. He drops down to get rid of Dakota Floyd's air in that draft that's so powerful here down the front stretch. Side by side for the second spot now. Floyd, Holland. Floyd getting trapped up there on the outside. Probably going to get a good run off of one here. And does. Looking very tough to pass here. "17 laps into it." Truck out into the wall there. That's the number 4 of Trent Columns. "18 laps under the belt here at Pocono Raceway." We're going to take a quick commercial break live on VSPEED, the Southeast Tutoring Truck Series. Back live right after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back here live, the Bald Head Island Vacations 55 at Pocono Raceway. Green flag pit stops have begun on lap 19, and you're seeing some of the top 5 with the 51 of Morgan Cook hitting pit road here. So he's back out on the racetrack. Ross Phillips coming down as well. Some trucks diving down that left-hand turn. Richard Holland, Kyle Stewart, Nick Garner, John Sanu still out there on the racetrack, but here comes Phillips to lead him down pit road. And a little miss on the pit stall there for the 5. That's going to cost him a little bit of time. Checking back in with the leaders. Here's Richard Holland coming into turn 3. Turn 2, rather. Ticker back up on the screen. It's Holland, Stewart, Gardner, Sanu, and Fagone, the top 5. All the way back to Chris Max in 11. Have not pitted yet. Holland probably going to dive it down this time by. So Stewart going to stay out a little bit longer. Nick Gardner going to carry around that speed. Holland into his stall. A few other trucks just behind him. And the lead taken over on lap 21 by the 41 of Stewart. These two drivers probably going to be battling for their position after they come off of pit road. They were just outside the top 10 a moment ago. But Stewart gonna get a lap led as he comes around turn 3. Looks like he's gonna stay out one more lap. And there comes the 10 of Fagone down pit road. All by himself. So Gardner up 9 positions where he began this race. Approaching some lap traffic here as they go down the back stretch. These two trucks probably going to hit pit road here very shortly as they go by the inside there of Teresa Spiker. And the 25th position. The tricky triangle. Very complicated racetrack. Tough to get around, and some of these drivers that are a little bit new to sim racing, as you see the 9 of Benjamin Richards dropping down below the apron. This all cycles out. You've got Morgan Cook, who was probably the first one down pit road here on this stint. 3 laps on his tires. He's leading Ross Phillips by about 0.3 of a second through turn 2. Richard Holland just behind the 5 of Phillips, but Phillips made that little mistake there. It didn't cost him too much time. He was a little bit slower down pit road than the rest of these guys, but he made up for it to get back out on the racetrack. So the top 7, 8 trucks going to be right on top of each other here, taking over the lead. Nick Gardner's going to stay out and lead one more lap. And we talked with some of the drivers during pre-race, talked with Richard Holland, hoping to get a long run. He said that's what it was going to take to have success here. And wow, locking up the wheels for the 16, but I think he's going to be okay. No speeding penalties for the 16 as he comes down to a stall. But really, that's what it was going to boil down to for the 18 team. When to pit. They felt that it did no good to run out the entirety of the fuel run, but that just hurt you in the long run. And so they all come down about the same time. Everybody on the same page. The 51 of Cook gonna take over and maybe lead a lap this time by. He has Phillips passing and looking to the inside now as they go into 1. And remember, the 51 got really tight coming out of turn 2, hit the outside wall. Looks like he's since got some of that damage repaired. Clean truck on the right side. Side by side now for the 2nd position. Back here for the 10th spot, Brian Hennings, Dylan Disbrough. This battle's starting to heat up for 8th through 11th. On board with John Sanu, looking back at this battle, really close to the exit wall of 3. Has to lift out of the throttle. Almost hits that wall. And with the new damage model, you can take a couple beatings on the wall, but you have to be careful with it. The suspension on this truck is really the weak point now. The bodies are a little more robust. The top 2 starting to spread out from this pack. You have Sean Langton running in 3rd. The 51 of Cook looks like he's struggling a little bit. We talked about that weather a little bit ago, and 100-degree track temperature. .66 in the ambient air, but completely clear skies here at Pocono. And that's going to heat up this racing surface as the race continues. It did drop a degree there as I said that, but it will stay about 100 degrees, maybe a little bit hotter as these guys race side by side. That's going to help rubber up this racetrack a little bit more. Cook looks like he got a little bit more right side damage. We got a little bit of a look at it there. 51 truck. Gonna come into the turn 2. Let's get a look at the right side. Still not too bad. I don't think he got any heavy damage. Maybe a little scuff there on the 5 on that door. But Phillips, Holland, and Langton starting to check out for the top 3. Looking back here in the 12th position. A peek to the inside here for Kyle Stewart down the front stretch. He's beside John Sanu in the 86, trying to get back into the top 10. The battle in front of them between Disbro and Hennings. Hennings going to try to make that pass completed here in 1, but it doesn't look like he's going to. He does shut the door. And another door shut on the 7. That's 2 doors closed. Let's go back on the instant replay and take a look at that. You can see him cut off the nose of the 7. The 7 tries the crossover. The 74 comes down and just blocks. It looks like a block to me. Maybe a loose condition for the 74. Not entirely sure. But that sense has set Disbro back to 11th. Hennings up to 8th now. As these battles start to settle down, pass for the lead. Battle now up front, side by side into 1. Holland on the bottom, Phillips on the outside. The 8 of Langton now to the outside of Holland. And still side by side as they go into turn 2. The 5 of Phillips blinks out for a moment. So a connection issue there for the 5. And a lead change on lap 28. Richard Holland going to lead his 3rd lap of the day. Started back in 5th. Phillips started back in 6th right beside him. So these two have worked their way through the field simultaneously. Side by side with McDonald and Gardner. 3 wide almost as they come down the backstretch. This is for the 13th position. Magone trying to get around McDonald. He will clear him going into the exit of turn 2, and a little tag with the wall by the 33. Looks like he's going to lose 2 spots. So back to 15th now, and looking like he's battling a tight condition. Might want to back the corners up a little bit more on the 33 to try to get that drive off. Top 3, they've simmered down. Closest battle in the top 10. That's going to be Morgan Cook and Justin Ritchie. 0.2 of a second as they go into turn 2. Morgan Cook, who had a great start to this race, has dropped back to the 7th position now. Trying to get back after that tag with the wall. He short pits, had the lead for a moment. Looks like those older tires are starting to show. And you wouldn't think that a lap or 2 would make that much of a difference. But that last time by, Richard Holland has 9 laps, 10 laps now on his tires. He ran a 55.176. Some drivers that have 12 laps on their tires, they're running 55.337. That's a couple tenths of a second each lap. 3 wide down the backstretch here. Luke Transport, 16-1. John Sanu in 12th. Disbro in the middle. He backs out of it. Thinks better of that move. Gets really loose coming off of turn 2. And the 7 of Disbro falls back to Nick Gardner in 13th. Way up on the outside now. Opportunity here for the 16. And I tell you what, Trenton Collins, he has been battling a tight truck all night. The battle from 9th, 10th rather, back to 15th. These drivers right on top of each other. "32 laps completed here at Pocono Raceway. You're watching the Bald Head Island Vacations 55 on VSPEED. We're going to take another short commercial break. We'll be back live right after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Back here live, Bald Head Island Vacations 55 from Pocono Raceway. Green flag pit stops back underway. You saw the 51 of Morgan Cook come down pit road for his second stop of the night. Will these other drivers follow suit, or are they going to stay out for the remainder of this race? Time will tell, as it's been a fuel strategy all the way through this race. Richard Holland has led 10 laps now. He has Ross Phillips within a half a second. 2/10 back. The 5 has hung with him since he took the lead on lap 28. So do any of these other drivers come down pit road? Looks like you got Dylan Disbro coming back out onto the racetrack. Rick Fagon side by side for the 9th position. Another truck dropping down into pit road. That looks like the 74 of Brian Hennings. And it is. Henning's having a really good day here tonight. He was, well, I say day tonight. What I mean is we're at a day track and we're racing at night. If you can comprehend that, I can't. But here at Pocono, having a great run. The 74 needs a top 10 to recover from some of the shorter tracks that we went to. And the road courses, a lot of these guys need that medicine. They've had some struggles as of late. Drivers that would typically do really well in points, getting caught up in some bad luck, having a lot of damage done to their championship hopes. So they really, really need to perform here tonight. The 5 of Phillips now gonna be on the 3rd stint of pit stops. Looks like he's coming down by himself. About 18 laps to go here. How long do you want to stay out? John Langton back here in the 2nd position. Dakota Floyd, your pole sitter, in 3rd. Kyle Stewart 4th. Nick Gardner 5th. Trent Collins coming back out onto the racetrack. He's had probably one of the closest calls with the outside wall for the entirety of the racetrack that we've seen all night. But the freaky fast Jimmy Johns, number 4, back out. Here comes Sean Langton. Dakota Floyd in as well. Langton pitting from the 2nd spot. Into the stall clean. Back out here on the racetrack with Richard Holland, who's staying out the longest. 18 laps now. Will that tire advantage pay off? Kyle Stewart out there with him as well. Cole Jarrett, John Sanu, pretty much the top 6 have not hit pit road. Here comes Richard Holland now. A very tight entry on pit road, but gets it woed up just in time. Kyle Stewart's going to stay out 1 lap longer and lead this time by. It's another lap led for the 41. That's 3 of them tonight. Started back in 8th position, and the 41 looking to get his first win of the season. If he stays out the longest, he could have the tire advantage. Dreams could come true. We could have another first-time winner here in the SCT Truck Series. Again, reminder, if you are watching on YouTube, if you're not, and you're on Twitch, go check out VSPEED Sim on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell, notifications turned on. You never want to miss a single race. VSRL SCT Truck Series goes live at 9:05 p.m. Eastern Time Monday nights. We also have a variety of other leagues that we broadcast for. BTDY on Tuesdays at 8:35. The Bluegrass Cup Series finishing up their final premier race at Homestead this Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And on VSPEED 2, we have the final race of the BMW Car Club of America. So looking forward to that as well. Saturday Night Racing League concluded their season 2 weeks ago. Looking to get back underway in January. VRX Cup Series also on the schedule. Several different leagues. VSRL going to have their Cup Series. Nick Gardner out here battling around. We've got the 9, the 15, getting a little bit crazy here down the backstretch. Some fresher tires in a battle for position. The 15 of Collins in 17th, actually. Benjamin Richards in 24th, 1 lap down here. Last car on the lead lap is Collins as he gets that lap back. And Gardner staying out the longest of any of these drivers, praying for a caution. 00 of Soale, 1 lap down, trying to get it back as he peeks to the inside down the backstretch. doesn't have enough of a run here to take the position away and get back on the lead lap, but Gardner probably going to hit pit road here within a lap or two as he lets the 00 go on around. And the 15 of Collins, not exactly sure, but he's diving it up and down the racetrack. That is not going to help those tires at all. So possibly some mistakes coming back out on the racetrack. Not exactly sure what happened to Richard Holland, but he falls back to about the 6th position after coming down pit road with the lead. Ross Phillips, having about 2 lap older tires, will probably cycle out to the lead with Todd Cleveland right behind him, 4 lap older tires. You got a few different drivers on different strategies up here in this top 5. Side by side back here with Cook and Holland. Into 1. Langton peeking into this battle as well. Cook way up high into 1. Little lift out of the throttle there for Langton. He had the momentum down that back stretch. Thought maybe he would try to take a peek to the inside of the 18, but doesn't do it. Todd Cleveland keeping the 5 of Phillips honest here with about 10 to go. Change for the lead now as the 16 of Gardner hits pit road. He falls back to 11th position after staying out that long. Not going to be enough time here for the 16 to probably get back to the top 5. He has plenty of time that he might be able to track these guys down in the 10th position. Looking for some battles on the racetrack. You've got Richard Holland trying to get caught up to Sean Langton. The top 5 pretty much on top of each other. Morgan Cook down to the bottom here for the 6th position. This really is the closest battles on the racetrack. You can go back here to Kyle Stewart. He's all over the back bumper of Brian Hennings. This is the pass for 8th spot as they go into 1. And diving down to the bottom, making quick work of the 74. Maybe a crossover here. Doesn't look like it. Hennings not getting a good run. 4 lap difference on tires for the 41. So the accordion effect with 10 to go. You've got 2 orange speed drivers up here in the top 5 rather. You've got Cook just outside the top 5. But all 4 of these drivers have pulled away from that pack. And Phillips leading them into turn 1. Langton drops down to the bottom to get around the 44 of Cleveland. Ross Phillips has led 8 laps here tonight. Has a chance to get most laps led if he can continue on for the remainder of this race. The battle for most laps led, somewhere between Dakota Floyd and Richard Holland. I'm going to say that Floyd has it, but let's check the laps led. Holland just too short of that. So Floyd able to lead 15. We've had 9 lead changes here tonight. Clean and green from lap 1. Can they make it all the way to lap 55? Sean Langton starting to turn up the heat a little bit here on the back of Phillips. You can see the run down the backstretch with the draft. And a little bit deceitful there with the draft. And the 1 lap advantage on tires is probably going to even out with about 5 to go. The top 2 being teammates, probably going to be a little bit of defensive driving. As they pull away from Todd Cleveland back and forth. Pressure's on now from the 8 of Langton. Coming out of turn 1, right up on the bumper. Into the tunnel turn, he's going to ride the bumper of the 5. Backs up that corner a little bit to try to get a drive off and make another run at him. Build the momentum up. That's what it's going to be on the front stretch. The 8 going to use the slipstream, get some clean air on that nose, peaks it down to the bottom. The 5 has moved it up 1 lane. But Langton definitely going to draft back up here to the 5 before they go into 1. Watch this slipstream take over. And this is where you got to start sizing up your opponent. Where's his weakest point? You find where it's bleeding and you press on it. It's really what these guys have done in the top 5 all night. They've kind of pressed and leaned on each other to find the weak spots. Little tight condition there for the 5, but he's able to hang on to it. Now pulling out a little bit over Langton. Langton was showing some speed there, but now looks like he's starting to get tight from running in the dirty air of the 5. And now Holland going to get to the outside, possibly. Diving it down to the bottom. A little block here by the 8 of Langton, taking him all the way to the bottom of the racetrack. Checking back here with the 70, actually the 55 of Justin Ritchie in 7th position. Dakota Floyd, these two pretty close to each other. Another battle that's starting to heat up a little bit is John Sanu and Rick Fagone, 11th and 12th. As the laps wind down, we'll have to check back in with that battle, but the battle for the top 3 is still very undecided. 5 laps to go as they come out of turn 3, this time by Ross Phillips, trying to hold on to the lead. Has a teammate back there playing a little bit of defense as they slipstream with the 47 of Buell. Another block here on Holland. And the pressure going to be really applied here to the 8. With 5 to go, Holland probably going to move the 8 of Langton out of the way. The 5 of Phillips tags the wall out of the exit of 2. And now a dive to the bottom, almost 3 wide. The battle for the lead, it's maxed out. 3 wide as they come off of turn 3. Holland to the inside of Langton. Phillips after the brush with the wall is going to lead this time by 4 to go now. Langton trying to make the pass on the outside to take over the lead. Could use the lap car as a pick. Dirty air here from the 47. Now the 18 of Holland might have the advantage. Doesn't quite get the run off of 1 that he wanted. Truck up into the wall there. The 18 of Holland does get around Langton. Not quite clear as they go into 3. looking off the back of Ross Phillips. He just has to get around this place 3 more times. And he can get his 3rd win of the season. 3 more times around on the 3 turns for the 3rd win. It's a lot of 3s. Did Richard Holland use up all of his stuff trying to get around Langton? These drivers ran clean and green for over 125 miles. We're down to the last 10 miles. Langton very tight coming out of turn 3. You can hear him dragging the brakes, but that truck not turning down as deep as Holland and Phillips. And you can see the spread across this entire field. Trent Collins, Dylan Disbrow side by side for 13th position. Collins going to get by the 7, maybe a crossover here as they go down the front stretch. There you see Rick Fagone just outside the top 10 trying to chase down Johnsonu. He has Frank Zingen on the back bumper. 2 laps to go here. The battle for the lead is hot. Side by side peak there into 2. Really tight there for Phillips as he comes off of turn 2, and Richard Holland to the outside as they go into 3. A block there by the 5. He gets really tight off of 3. And the white flag up in the air. Richard Holland's going to take it over on the lead. He might have it into 1. Side by side, Phillips with the preferred line. It's going to come down to the very last corner. These 2 drivers have been battling all race long. And Holland gets the edge. Can Phillips rebuttal into the tunnel turn? He dives it down to the bottom. Really tight there. And Holland backs up the corner. He has 1 more left. Now a dive to the inside. Holland leaves the door open. They're going to be side by side down the front straightaway. But checkered flag up in the air. And it's going to be Richard Holland getting the win at Pocono. Down to the last lap, all the way through, and Ross Phillips gets 2nd. Sean Langton bringing it home in 3rd. In a close battle all the way through this race. Let's go back and watch those last couple laps. Here's the little mistake there. Phillips gets really tight. Langton hits the outside wall, falls all the way back. Both these drivers battling a tight condition. The white flag going to come out this next lap. Holland's going to have the peak to the inside. Phillips takes him all the way to the bottom there. But Holland just had the momentum to take that white flag. As they dive it into turn 1, side by side. Phillips, with that tight condition, has to lift out of the throttle. He has no choice. Down the back stretch. All over the back bumper of Holland. Thought maybe if Phillips could get it to stick going into either one of these turns. But this turn right here, just back to the throttle a little bit sooner. The dirty air didn't help. And he really sends it into 3 right here. He tried everything he could. Kept the pressure on Holland the entire time. But ultimately it came down to the number 18. little congratulatory bump there from the 8 of Langton. And one heck of a race coming down to the very last lap between Ross Phillips, Sean Langton, and Richard Holland. That top 3 was on another level here tonight. Showed everybody how to get on and off pit road a little bit better. But now down on the front stretch. Gonna burn it down. It's the number 18 of Richard Holland. Post-race interviews with your top 3. You're watching the Southeast Tutoring Truck Series live on VSPEED. Another commercial break, and we'll be back right after this.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Back here live on VSPEED. Bald Head Island Vacations 55 at Pocono has concluded, and we're catching up down on pit road. We've got your third place finisher, Sean Langton. And Sean, it just looked like the tires just let go. You had a little bit of an advantage on Phillips, but Holland 1 lap fresher. It seemed like the longer you were in that dirty air behind Phillips, the tighter that truck got.
Yeah, I honestly just maybe had the third fastest truck, maybe fourth, but I wasn't really good at saving my tires. I kind of came out just trying to stick with them, and Ross did a real good job on that last one coming out saving it, but maybe saved a little too much and let Holland get by him at the end there. It looked like I had a good view from where I was sitting. I had a front row seat to that great race.
Yeah, it really came down to the last lap. All 3 of you looked like you were battling tight conditions. It was a matter of who overdrove that last couple of corners. I saw you tag the wall there coming out of 2. You were putting the pressure on the back of Phillips there with about 5 to go. I thought maybe you had something for him.
Yeah, that was just kind of desperation, trying to get more out of the truck than I could. I was pretty much just like I blistered my right front trying to keep up with them, and that was the result of that. Just trying to keep running the same line when I had too much temperature in the right front. But it was a good run for the Bald Head Island Chevy, and looking forward to next week.
So you put it on out there. We go back to kind of the social norm of NASCAR. We have Michigan next week after this, and how excited are you to kind of come back to racetracks like this? I know you dominate at the road courses, and unfortunately at Lime Rock, I heard your computer completely crapped out on you. You had a black screen, and that was your race, man. It looked like you were leaving the pack.
Yeah, had a computer issue, but that was in the past. What can you do about it? But we're all fixed up now with a new PC, thanks to Bald Head Island Vacations, and we're going to be back and ready for the next road course. We'll be right back up front where we belong. But yeah, this was a fun combo, interesting combo. It's not my favorite track. Looking forward to Michigan. I think we'll run strong there. It'll be more of the similar pack racing, maybe a little spread out after we do green flag stops, but we'll see.
Well, congratulations on the third place finish, Sean. I know you got him out there watching right now, so go ahead and shout him out.
BaldheadIslandVacations.com. Hit up that if you want to go check out Bald Head Island, book your trip. Hit up Orange Speed, of course. All my teammates at Orange Speed. Every week we prepare, practice, and I couldn't do it without these guys. I wouldn't be as fast as I was without all of them. Thanks to Ryan for being the leader that he is. Southeast Tutoring. What else we got? 603 Designs, VSRL, of course, VSPEED, Bradley, and thank you for coming in week and week out and calling our races, man. We really appreciate you.
I appreciate the action you guys put on out there. Great show here tonight at Pocono. Sean Langton, congratulations, buddy. We might talk to you next week. Third place finisher, Sean Langton in the number 8. Moving on to your second place finisher. And this might be a tough one, but Ross Phillips, you had a great race here tonight. You put it down out there. You led 17 laps, most laps led. It was just that last one. It was that last corner.
Yeah, that's something, huh? 17 laps led. That's it. I'll take it. It was a fun race, man. It running with Holland there, man. That was absolutely a blast. We've a couple of practice races together and ran really well with each other. Surprised we didn't stay side by side a lot longer than we did, but I don't know. It was fun.
Looked like the dirty air kind of played a factor with some of those guys back there, and you had Langton putting the pressure on you, and then he got tight. You had the clean air. Holland got up to the bumper. It just seemed like it was the wrong time for the truck to get really tight. What happened there?
Yeah, he pitted 2 laps after I did, so I think that helped a little bit, maybe not a lot. We about 6 laps to go. I was using it for everything that I had. I saved the tires for a little bit. That's why him and Sean caught me so quickly. But I don't know if you saw it, but I don't know who it was. There was a truck that was in front of me that was trying to ask me if I wanted him to go high or low. And I just told him to run his line. Well, when he went through the short chute back around the backstretch, he went from the bottom to the top and then just kind of brake checked as he got towards the wall, and it scared me a little bit. So I had to jump on the brakes a little bit, and it sent my truck up into the wall. So I think that killed it just a little bit. And from there on, it was bad. I was doing everything I could to try to keep Holland behind me, but it wasn't going to happen.
I know the pressure was on. We saw the green flag pit stops, 2 sets of them here tonight. What was the mindset for the strategy? I know that some guys were talking about running the entirety of the fuel run, trying to go 1 stop, but was that even possible here tonight?
No, not at all. Even in the draft, we got a couple of people on the Orange Speed team that did the full runs in a couple of practice sessions, and I think they said the most they were getting was 23 laps complete. That's saving the best that you can. So there was absolutely no way to do it on 1 stop. 2 stops with a short stop, yeah, but that was about it. The first stop, that was kind of I don't know what you call that. That was somebody pulled the trigger to go ahead and pit early, and it was one of those, well, we need to start diving in and getting it done. If not, we're going to be behind. So.
Yeah, I believe that was a teammate of yours had started that rush down to pit road. Morgan Cook, he had actually brushed the wall on about lap 13. A lot of guys claim that wall, especially out of turn 2. So I mean, that's just the product of Pocono, it seemed like.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't hit that line just right in these trucks, man, that wall creeps up on you pretty quick. I was right behind Morgan whenever he did that. And that was then in that first stint when I was saving the tires a lot. And then I got into the wall a couple of times there with 10 to go, something like that. So it was rough. Either way, like I said, it was fun. It was a lot of fun running with Holland and Sean and a couple of them. So.
Well, congrats on second place here tonight. I know it's kind of tough to chew on that, but you had a great performance, and you're going to maintain that points lead. That oh so precious 42 points is going to probably be extended a little bit more after this week. Do you have anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, thank all of Orange Speed, obviously, every week. week in and week out. What a great team we got. Thank you guys with VSPEED for putting this thing on, broadcasting for us and doing a hell of a good job doing it. All the admins, VSRL, the normal guys. It's every week. I'm going to have to start writing this stuff down. It's every week we're doing this, so I might have to give me a little spreadsheet or something like Morgan has.
I got a few WordPad documents that I can send your way if you'd like.
Maybe it might work.
I'm supposed to read from a script and I always forget.
Yeah. I got a silver tongue and I can use. Yeah, I got a silver tongue. I can usually talk without any of that, but now I'm just like, well, it's every week. Last week I thanked my grandma. This week I thanked my kids. 2 weeks ago I thanked my dog. I don't. You know how it goes.
Yeah, you gotta get them all in there eventually. But Ross, congrats, man, and maybe we'll talk to you at Michigan. It sounds like pretty good showing there last season. So
yeah, it's going to be a good draft track. So hopefully it's a pretty good race like this one was. I think there's going to be a lot of people in the same. Sure, you saw that with the qualifying deal. Everybody was within literally a second of each other. So I think the same thing's going to happen. We're going to have some pretty good pack racing next week. So it'll be a good show, hopefully. So appreciate it, and we'll catch you next week.
Ross Phillips, second place finisher here tonight at Pocono. We'll talk to you later.
Later, bud.
And finally, there's Richard Holland, and I'm going to move him up here. I'm just going to pull him straight up. First place finisher. Last lap pass. The seats parted. You had the truck. We knew that the tires had a little bit of an advantage there. We saw that in the run prior that you were able to get around Langton. You were able to get around Phillips as the run progressed. But we were a little bit worried up here in the booth that there wasn't going to be enough laps left for you to catch up.
Yeah, I was too. Yeah, them guys are tough. Sean and Ross. Anytime they're out front, you got to run those guys down. You got to pass them for a win. It's pretty difficult. They're both very good, consistent, clean drivers, and they're very, very hard to pass. So the only thing I knew I had working for me was I had a little bit fresher tires. So I just kind of laid back there and tried to take care of them when I was riding behind them. And then when I saw my opportunity, I just tried to take it. And then it took me a while to get around Sean. He made it pretty difficult, which is what he's supposed to do. That's what I would have done. And then Ross, of course, he's pretty good. I mean, he's really good at getting the most out of the truck and or whatever he's driving. And I had fresher tires than him, but you can see how difficult he made it. So he's very good at getting everything he can get out of it no matter what. So it was very difficult. Wasn't easy, that's for sure, but we got lucky. I got to the outside of him there, which is kind of where I wanted to be, but I didn't think I'd be able to get there. So then we was able to make the pass, and then I don't know, man. It must have been a hell of a show on the last lap.
Yeah, it was a great show from probably 10 to go when we saw the top three start to accordion back together, pull away from the rest of the field. We knew that it was going to be one of you three. I thought Langton. It seemed like the dirty air really got to the 8 truck, and you could probably attest to this because you sat in dirty air for a lot of this race. How difficult was it to maintain your tires when you're riding behind somebody?
Very hard. Yeah, very hard. It was really, really tight, pushing the nose. You had to back the corners up and try to peak that thing down on the left, try to get a little air on the nose, and it was very hard. It was very easy to overdrive it and burn the tires off of it. So yeah, I tried to focus on not doing that when I was behind people and just taking care of it. And I felt like tires were going to be huge tonight, and I think that was the result. I think it was. So
yeah, we were talking about a couple hundredths of a second with just the 2-lap advantage. So that later pit, some drivers stayed out a little bit too long, praying maybe for a caution. We had like Nick Gardner and a few others that stayed out way past that second round of pit stops. So it seemed like the window for you top 3 drivers fit pretty much perfectly. The hand was forced with the 51 starting it, and then you guys followed suit. I think really it just came down to who played the perfect race.
yeah, I think you're exactly right. I didn't really have a lap in mind. I knew that we were going to have to pit twice, so it didn't matter, I guess. But I didn't really have a lap in mind. I just kind of was racing, and then I see people started to pit, and I said, well, I'm going to go one more. And so that's really how I played it out, and it worked out great for me. So.
Well, I can see a faint 31 underneath that 18. We're going to have to get that fixed on the HJRM machine. But nonetheless, Richard Holland, you get the victory here tonight. Your first win after what I would consider a pretty big drought. The schedule and some driver conflicts, a multitude of things have went wrong, but you get your second win of the season. You join that multi-winning group here at VSRL. Do you have anybody you'd like to shout out and thank?
Well, I want to thank Hal Junior Motorsports for being on this thing as a sponsor. Got to thank Hal. This Hal Junior Motorsports Chevrolet, man. Appreciate him for doing that. Appreciate you for painting this bad boy. Mr. Bojangles, by the way, painted this. So I just want to thank everybody that puts on this show, Garrett and Morgan and, Kyle and, I'm forgetting people. I mean, I don't know, but just everybody that puts on this thing and does the week-to-week shit that, people don't realize it goes on behind the scenes. It's a real thankless job. So I get it. I've seen it firsthand, so I know what it's all about. So we appreciate it. Gives us a place to race, and if it wasn't for them guys doing it, we wouldn't have this. We wouldn't be able to have this great racing. So just want to thank the drivers, everybody that raced tonight did a really great job. Very smart racing. Went green. That's incredible. Made for a really great race. And I want to thank you for doing the broadcast, Coop. Do a hell of a job, man, all the time, every week. Love watching it. And I want to thank my teammates. Nick running with us is awesome. I love running with Nick. He's a great guy, great driver. He's always got different ideas, different things to throw around. He's better at places that I'm not, vice versa. We always throw things back and forth each other. Ricky kind of struggled a little bit tonight, but hopefully he can turn it around here. So, but yeah, appreciate it, Coop. Thanks.
Going to Michigan next week. Race winner here tonight at the Bald Head Island Vacations 55, Richard Holland. Congratulations, man. We'll see you next week in Michigan.
Thank you.
So the number 18 getting it done, and I tell you what, it was a great race. I hope you guys enjoyed it here tonight. Let's go through that final finishing order up on your screen. So it's going to be the top three we talked to with Holland, Phillips, and Langton. Dakota Floyd's going to bring it home fourth. Todd Cleveland in fifth. Kyle Stewart, sixth position. Morgan Cook going to start it up there in the front row. Finishes seventh. Tough break for him. Also Floyd on the pole, back to fourth. Justin Ritchie going to finish eighth. Brian Hennings, a top 10. Solid night for him, starting in 15th. 5 spots gained. And John Sanu rounding out that top 10. Rick Fagone's going to bring it home 11th with Frank Zingen in 12th. Trenton Collins in 13th. 14th. Dylan Disbro. Paul McDonald in 15th. Kobe Collins 16th. Nick Gardner all the way back to 17th after staying out the longest of any run. Randy Saleh in 18th. Cole Jarrett 19th. And rounding out that top 20, it's going to be Chris Max. John Buell in the 21st position. Benjamin Richards in the 22nd. Thad Miller, 23rd. 24th, Teresa Spiker. Justin Mullins, 25th. And Nicholas Pressey gonna round out the remaining of our field. Well, a special thanks there to Garrett Helmlinger for track steward here tonight. If you enjoyed tonight's broadcast here live on VSPEED, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're on the Twitch, go ahead and check it out. VSPEED Sim on YouTube. But for everybody at VSRL and VSPEED, Garrett Helmlinger putting on a great show. Morgan Cook, everybody behind the scenes. Adam Baker, Eddie Smith, Alec Martinez, Morgan Cook, and Connor Horn. I'm Bradley Cooper saying have a great rest of your week. So long, everybody. Take care.
And here comes Milo. Big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
No, it's burned!
Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes
Swag.
Zwack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive. Especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.